Our project focuses on how caffeine affects the physiology of our bodies. Caffeine is added to many drinks that we consume on a regular basis. According to Mayo Clinic, up to 400 milligrams of caffeine a day appears to be safe for most healthy adults. This is equivalent to the amount of caffeine in 4 cups of brewed coffee, 10 cans of soda, or 2 energy drinks. In our project, we will specifically focus on the caffeine content in coffee.
Caffeine has effects on the cardiovascular system. Acute intake of coffee or caffeinated beverages can increase blood pressure, heart minute volumes, cardiac output, and can activate the sympathetic nervous system in non-habitual coffee drinkers. However, this is not observed in habitual coffee drinkers. People can become tolerant to coffee, and the effects of it will not be as prominent in people who drink coffee regularly. Heart minute volumes and cardiac output rise after coffee consumption due to direct stimulation of cardiac myocytes.
Caffeine also influences your heart rate. Moderate doses of coffee can reduce resting heart rate due to a moderate increase in blood pressure. This decrease of heart rate is associated with vagally mediated slowing, as the baroreceptors respond to blood pressure elevations after caffeine intake. High doses of caffeine can lead to tachycardia and can potentially induce arrhythmias in predisposed subjects. Coffee-induced arrhythmias are more common in non-habitual coffee drinkers. Caffeine also affects your blood pressure. A rise in diastolic blood pressure is observed after consumption of coffee due to the antagonistic binding of caffeine on adenosine receptors in the brain, which results in vasoconstriction and an increase in peripheral resistance to overall increased diastolic pressure. The effect of coffee on blood pressure and heart rate disappears after 1 hour and is correlated with plasma concentrations of caffeine. Caffeine may indirectly decrease blood pressure by enhancing excretion of water and electrolytes from the kidneys through the urine, inducing a diuretic effect.
The effects of caffeine on the brain are that caffeine causes an increase in serotonin and norepinephrine concentrations in the brainstem. It has been suggested that the dopaminergic system also could contribute to the widespread consumption of caffeine-containing beverages. It has wake-promoting effects acting through adenosine receptors to counterbalance sleepiness. There are also effects of coffee on sleep. There are negative side effects if caffeine is consumed at bedtime, and more than 100 milligrams is said to significantly affect sleep. The most prominent effects are prolonged sleep latency, shorter total time asleep, and more light sleep stages. It also affects REM sleep and causes agitation with higher doses. People who are more sensitive to caffeine will get these negative side effects, while those with tolerance to caffeine do not.
Caffeine presents several benefits and risks to human health. Despite what people often hear, there is no clear association between coffee and the risk of hypertension, heart attacks, or other cardiovascular diseases. Habitual moderate coffee intake does not represent a health hazard and may be associated with beneficial effects on cardiovascular health. Habitual coffee consumption has several health benefits, including lower risks of Parkinson's and Alzheimer's disease, a favorable effect on liver function, a possible role in weight loss, and a decreased risk of developing certain cancers, such as endometrial, prostate, colorectal, and liver. Excessive amounts of coffee, meaning more than 6 cups a day, was shown to have harmful effects on the heart due to an increase in LDL cholesterol.
Excessive caffeine intake is associated with headaches, nausea, anxiety, hypertension, and restlessness. The amount of caffeine needed to produce these effects varies from person to person, depending on age, weight, and sex. Caffeine has addictive properties, with withdrawal symptoms that include headache, lethargy, and irritability. Caffeine deprivation has led to increased reporting of stress by heavy coffee drinkers. When individuals have an excessive amount of caffeine, meaning 300 milligrams or higher, they may become anxious. Individuals with anxiety disorders report that caffeine exacerbates their problems. However, in lower doses, caffeine may reduce anxiety and depression.
Overall, it can be seen that caffeine has many beneficial effects, especially in trying to help you function through finals week. However, it is important to be aware of the physiological effects caffeine may have on your body so that you can properly regulate your caffeine intake.